All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to challenge, well, pretty much everything you think you know about what a computer is. Based on some truly groundbreaking work by Matthias Rost, we're not just looking at the next shiny upgrade. We're talking about a fundamental reinvention of our digital world. You know, for most of our lives, we've understood computers through one single powerful metaphor. The desktop, right? It gave us our files, our folders, our applications. It created this stable, predictable digital space that we all learned to navigate. But here's the thing. What if that entire era is coming to a close? Because a completely new paradigm, one driven by large language models, is shaking that half-century-old foundation to its absolute core. The ground is literally shifting beneath our digital feet.
And let me be super clear about this. We are not just talking about a new feature or a slicker interface. This is an ontological shift. Now that's a big phrase, I know, but all it really means is that the very being, the fundamental nature of what a computer is changing. And how we relate to it, that's changing right along with it.
Okay, so to really get a grip on where we're going, we first have to understand the world we're leaving behind. The application-centered desktop that has defined, well, everything for so long.
So think about it like this. The old world, on the left, is static. It's rigid. You have a fixed set of tools, a word processor, a web browser, and we, the users, have to bend our intentions to fit what those tools can do. But the new world on the right, it's fluid, it's emergent. Functionality isn't prepackaged anymore. It's assembled on the fly. And the computer, it actually adapts to our intent. What a flip! So what is this new paradigm? It's called LLM-Mediated Computing, and believe me, it is a complete departure from the app model we've all grown up with. In this model, software isn't some product you buy off a shelf anymore. Instead, the LLM acts as this incredibly powerful interpretive engine. It takes what you want to do, generates the code, and builds the interface you need right there in the moment. The software itself literally emerges from the interaction. This creates a brand new relationship, what we call the human LLM computer triad. See, it's not just you and the machine anymore. Now the human expresses an intent. The LLM interprets it, and the computer itself is reconfigured. The computer goes from being a passive, stable tool to an active participant in this wild, dynamic feedback loop. And this right here is the engine that drives this whole new thing. First, you express what you want, maybe through text or a quick sketch. Then, the LLM interprets that and generates code. Next, the computer reconfigures itself, executing that code. And finally, you engage with that new form, and that interaction becomes the next input. It's a continuous, creative cycle. Express, interpret, reconfigure, repeat. Now, an experience this radically new needs a new metaphor, right? We're leaving the static desktop behind for something much more fluid and dynamic. The best way to describe it is as a reflective conversation. And when we say reflective conversation, we're not talking about a chatbot, not at all. This is a dialogue with the actual materials of your work. Every action you take gets a meaningful, consequential response from the system, and together you're co-shaping the tool as you go. It's a partnership. Let's make this really concrete with a quick example called the garden vignette. So imagine you sketch a simple garden layout on a tablet. That drawing isn't just input, it's your opening line. It's your first move in this new kind of conversation. Then the system talks back, but it doesn't just give you a simple drawing tool. No way. It reconfigures itself to become a garden simulator right before your eyes. It offers you a seasonal slider, intelligent plant suggestions, all of it generated in real time just from your sketch. And the conversation just keeps going. As you interact with this new interface, maybe you accept one of its suggestions, the computer reconfigures itself again. The tool is literally evolving with each turn of the conversation, becoming richer and more capable as your dialogue unfolds. This brings us to the real philosophical heart of this shift. And to truly grasp how deep this goes, we can look at it through the lens of a field called post-phenomenology, which is basically just the study of how technology shapes our experience of the world. So, in post-phenomenology, there are these different ways we relate to technology. Embodiment is when a tool feels like an extension of you. Hermeneutic is when you read the world through a tool, like a map. Alterity is when you interact with tech like it's another being, like talking to a smart assistant. But LLM-mediated computing introduces a fifth relationship, highlighted right there at the bottom. And this is the crucial point. And that crucial point is called co-disclosure. What this means is that in this new world, the computer is no longer a pre-existing object with a fixed identity. Instead, what the computer is, its capabilities, its very nature, is disclosed or brought into being through the act of using it. You are co-creating it in the conversation.
This ontological shift has absolutely profound implications. We're not just talking about for users, but for how we design, how we build, and even how we think about governing our technology from now on.
So, designing for this future requires a whole new set of principles. We need to create systems that are transparent about what they're doing. Systems that treat misunderstandings as a normal part of a conversation, not a critical error. At the end of the day, this isn't about designing a product anymore, it's about designing for a relationship.
And we have to remember, this process of mediation is never neutral. The data used for training, the safety filters, the corporate priorities, they all quietly shape what the computer can suggest, what it can build, and ultimately, what it can become. These systems are absolutely embedded with the values of their creators. And that leaves us with one final provocative question to think about. As we step into this new co-disclosed digital world where we are active participants in creating our tools moment to moment, what does responsibility even look like? If we are co-creating our computers, are we not also co-responsible for what they become?